Am I the asshole for asking the trip organizer for a refund after she replaced me with someone else? I was supposed to go on a group trip with 8 people in July. The cost was split into 2 payments, one due in April and one in June. I sent the first payment of $700 in April. In May, 2 months before the trip, I had to back out for personal reasons. Another person also dropped out around the same time, also after paying the same first installment. This left the group with 6 people. I told the organizer right away and asked if I could get at least part of my payment refunded. She said no because the remaining group would have to split the cost of my second installment, and it wasn't her responsibility to find someone else to take my place. I accepted this, even though $700 is a lot of money to me. However, I just learned that she did end up finding 2 replacement people, so the group was back to 8. As I see it, that means either those new people went for cheaper because of my $700, or the organizer charged them the full amount and kept the difference. With this in mind, I feel like I should get at least some of my money back, since the extra cost the group had to cover because of me wasn't a problem in the end. Am I the asshole for asking the organizer to return at least part of my $700? You're not the asshole. There are alternative possibilities in which you might not be entitled to your money back, but given that the organizer clearly said no because the remaining group would have to split the cost of my second installment, then you clearly are. Her reason for not giving it back no longer applies, so she should give it back. You and another dropped out and left 6 people to cover an extra $234. She could have been a hard ass and told you to stick to your commitment and to pony up. She didn't. Then she got someone to come. Doesn't mean she got anyone to come at full price. She may have had to sell the trip cheap or be out the money you bailed on. What have we learned from this? 1. Don't commit to non-refundable trips. 2. Order through a business and have insurance. 3. Don't expect your friends to cover your inability to follow through on financial commitments, causing them stress and having to scramble for a replacement. You are the asshole. Are we talking about a group of friends here, or a travel agent? If the former, then this is a great cautionary tale about how not to travel with friends. Putting one person in charge and expecting that person to manage everything for everyone creates a transactional situation where someone is bound to get fucked over. If it's the latter, check your contract. Make your own travel arrangements. You don't know that the new people double paid. Most likely, they did not. I.e., they only went to avoid wasting the money that was spent. This kind of thing happens all the time, e.g. 4 months in advance my girlfriend and I will say, let's go to this concert. I buy the tickets. We break up. I have an extra ticket, so I look for anyone who will go, and even getting someone to go to a random concert is not easy. I managed to find someone to go and at least the ticket was not wasted. As hard as it is to find someone to go to a concert, I can't imagine how hard it is to find someone to go on a trip. So with that in mind, I do not think the new people double paid. In my life experience that did not happen. You are the asshole, sure, ask, but remember you and the other person were shorting everyone the second payment of $700 each, $1,400. It's very possible the organizer only found 2 people to take the 2 spots for $700 each and not $1,400. But even if people were found for the original trip price, there's an argument that you still shouldn't get it back. The organizer or the group may have spent a lot of time working to find 2 additional people that would cover the lost $1,400. The time they spent finding people is valuable too. You committed to a trip and paid a deposit. You backed out. You lose the deposit. That's generally how these things work. It's possible she was only able to get the replacements because they were told they'd only have to pay the remainder. If she got paid in full, she should reimburse you, but it sounds like the replacements got a deal. If you wanted a full refund, you should have found a replacement. Am I the asshole for putting someone's shoes on the floor when they were in the overhead cabin space? A few months ago I was on a short-distance flight with a low-cost airline company. This specific company guarantees cabin space when you book a certain seat and it's not too expensive. For a bit of context, it was an early flight and I hadn't slept, also a bit hungover, so not my finest moment. When I got on the plane, all the front cabin spaces were taken. I kept searching for a place next to my seat 2A, but my suitcase wouldn't fit. I admit that I was getting more and more frustrated when walking down the aisle looking for a space, and also a bit pressured because there was a line forming behind me. I finally came up in row 8 where I found a space that was filled with 2 pairs of shoes. We all know the rules: cabin luggage goes in the cabin and anything else goes under the seat. At this point, I'm angry and ask whose shoes they were. Finally, someone, 2 rows above, speaks up. I then ask if he could take them out and they respond with, "Do you work for the company? Are you the flight attendant?" I chose not to answer this and took the shoes out to put my suitcase. He started yelling and I just ignored them. The attendant came and asked if she could help. I said no and quickly explained while putting my luggage in the space, which she helped with. He then called me an asshole and this time I answered. The flight went on and at the end, I couldn't find my bag. He had thrown it and hidden it in some row. Not sure how because I was sleeping. This nice couple showed me where it was. I started yelling a bit telling him that he was a child and that shoes belonged in the floor. Anyway, when I told this story, everyone said I should have contacted the flight attendant from the start and I was a bit of an asshole when I put down, slightly threw his shoes on the floor. So am I the asshole? Esh, there is always the asshole who puts things that don't belong in the bin up there. But, the moment you touched his things, you opened yourself up for him to touch yours. Don't start arguments with people who have already shown they are not concerned following the rules of polite society whilst stuck in an enclosed space them. That is just a recipe for drama. Not that we let them get away with BS. Get the flight attendant next time. Esh, you don't touch other people's stuff. That goes for the both of you. The appropriate thing to do was to get the attention of an attendant. Esh, the shoes shouldn't be in the overheard bin, ew. What kind of barbarian is on the plane in sock feet and uses the luggage bin for shoes? You shouldn't have touched the shoes, but had the flight attendant do so. Understandable that you were feeling pressured and impatient, but you should have waited anyway. Tossing them was really bad form. Shoe owner should not have touched your bag. That was totally unnecessary. Just petty and childish. There's no excuse for that. So, yeah, no one is blameless. Not the asshole. Seriously, what is it with these judgments? You don't put shoes in the overhead space. There are very clear rules. Edit to add. Also, I'm assuming these were the shoes the guy was wearing? Which makes him more of an a-hole. Nobody wants to smell your sweaty feet. Esh, you should have contacted the flight attendant right away. Then only the other guy would have looked like the asshole, but now you both do. It is not the place of fellow passengers to enforce the rules. That is reserved for flight attendants. Esh, am I the asshole for forgetting my wife's birthday for about 20 minutes? My wife's birthday was on Saturday. We took Friday off to celebrate together while our toddler son was at preschool. I went and got a pedicure with her while she got a manicure in the morning. We went to brunch at the restaurant of her choice and then we went to a resort for the day to swim and relax. I went and picked up our son after that, and then we went and met friends for dinner. We went home, got the kid to bed and got kind of drunk and had sex and went to bed late. Pretty great day. The next morning our son wakes up around 5:45 a.m. She hops out of bed to let him go potty and then I get up to take care of him so she can sleep longer. I spend the next 15-20 minutes or so playing with my son and getting him situated and happy and then I realize, oh crap, it's her birthday. I grab my son and say let's go sing happy birthday to your mom. We go to the bedroom and sing to her. She gives zero reaction. She says nothing and won't even look up from bed. She is furious the rest of the morning and will barely speak to me. I try to give her a card and her gift and she ignores it. I decide to take my son to an indoor playground so she can have some alone time. She had mentioned the night before that she now also wanted a pedicure. I was a little hesitant about it because we had just spent a good amount of money the day before and things are a little tight, but then I say just go treat yourself. While we are at the playground she says she is going to get the pedicure and I send a treat yourself gif. I get home and she is being a little more friendly. We get our son down for a nap and I try to come cuddle with her and she basically pushes me away and is back to being mad at me. She brings up that I didn't tell her happy birthday in the morning and says I didn't make her feel special. I take her to dinner at the restaurant of her choice. She is angry the entire time, barely says a word to me. She finally cools off after we get our son to bed. The next day she is once again mad at me and today she is also pissed at me, both days referencing that I forgot her birthday. Am I the asshole? What? She's pissed all day, for multiple days because you took care of your kid from 5:45-6 a.m. before wishing her a happy birthday? The day after you took off from work to celebrate her all day? And she got gifts and dinner out? No, unless you were catching a flight, you can't be late at 6 a.m. You were doing childcare so she could stay in bed. Big emphatic, not the asshole. Not the asshole. You did wish her happy birthday, you just spent 20 millions with your toddler first. That's an entirely reasonable thing to do. Plus, the day before was her birthday celebration anyway. Not the asshole. Jesus. You have a toddler. It's run around time and recover from last night. Just say you're sorry but don't all over yourself. She has to get over this one on her own. You married a child. Wow. Not the asshole, your wife is acting childish. She already got her big birthday day out. And you did acknowledge her birthday on the day of, you were merely, as you say, 20 minutes behind. You then made several efforts throughout the day to celebrate her birthday. If she wanted to be salty, then she could have been salty for 20 minutes, the duration of your supposed transgression, and let it go. But instead she spent the entire day sulking and emotionally punishing you. And then is still punishing you the next day. People who behave like this are usually just looking for a reason to get mad and blame someone else for their emotional issues. How old is she? Honestly, she sounds like a child. When my kids were little, my husband getting up and entertaining them while I stayed in bed was the acknowledgement of my birthday. He kept them out of our room until I was ready to get up. Am I the asshole for not lending my friend money even though I obviously have it? So my friend, 24F, asked me, 26M, to lend her $300 for her car repair, and I said no, and now she's pretty pissed because she knows I'm not broke right now and could technically afford it. Here's the thing. She already owes me $150 from like 6 months ago that she keeps saying she'll pay back next week and never does. Plus she has this habit of asking for money but then posting pics of herself out at expensive restaurants the same week. I'm finally in a good place financially after years of stress. I got a win on my prize and I just don't want to mess that up by being the bank for someone who doesn't seem to prioritize paying people back. She's saying I'm being selfish and that real friends help each other out, but honestly I feel like real friends don't put you in awkward positions about money repeatedly. Am I the asshole for protecting my own financial stability even though I could help? I feel guilty but also like I'm being reasonable. Man shrugging. Friends also pay friends back. She doesn't want a loan, she wants another gift. I have a policy not to borrow and not to lend. If a friend is in need then I gift what I can. That way there is no expectation or disappointment or annoyance. Not the asshole. Remind her of the $150 she owes every time she asks for more. Not the asshole. A friend does not count your pennies. A friend doesn't borrow money without repaying it. A friend doesn't call you selfish when you won't do what she wants when she wants it. Stop twisting yourself into knots about this. It's not your job to pay for her life. She can make money and spend it responsibly, same as you, yet she isn't. If you've been free with details about your financial situation, then cut that out immediately. It's only giving her fuel for the fire. Just tell her this: a real friend would have paid me back already from the first go. Not the asshole. Tell her credit limit has been reached. Not the asshole, you don't owe your friend anything. She just wants you to pay her expenses so she has more spending money.